Yeah, it's really been incredible. This has felt like a 2 month road trip, and I think we've only been on the road for 9 or 10 days. But a lot has happened during the course of that time. I just really continue to commend our group, um, for just staying in the moment, focusing on solutions, and just figuring out how we can try to improve and get a game good enough to win. One at a time. And it's been unprecedented, for the entire league to have to, sign emergency 10-day contracts. And we're just so appreciative of these guys, this group that joined us on this road trip and have really infused, some life into our group and gave us some really productive minutes. Everybody to a man in the locker room is just really appreciative of them. And because of all these experiences, we've had, some really memorable nights. And this was one of them. There's some deep respect for this franchise, for how they run their program, the success they've had the last 2 years. We knew that we wouldn't be able to play with an average game, and a bunch of different guys stepped up and contributed.
Phoenix has been pretty good defensively this year for the most part. You guys got a lot of open looks. Was there anything in particular, or was it just one of those nights that just seemed like you guys had a lot of good looks and took advantage?
Yeah, I don't know. They are a really good defense. They do what they do extremely well. They're well versed, very disciplined, and they have a lot of guys that know how to make it tough on you. We just happen to make some shots, and sometimes you can just become ignitable from there. And we're really sharing the ball and making the extra play. But it also helps when the ball's going in. If the ball's not going in some key moments, it could look differently. But thankfully, we were able to knock some down, particularly when there was a run or a swing of momentum. It seemed like we moved the ball and got an open shot, and we were able to knock those ones down.
I think it's not like that. I've done that obviously a couple of times in his career. About how fun is that to watch, and how much you expect, right? And throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, he's ignitable. And look, this is not easy. This entire thing right now, to the average fan or anybody else out there, it's not easy. Duncan has been in the protocol. He literally just flew all day before the Portland game to be able to play in that game. Brought him off the bench just so he can control his minutes. Then, we're just trying to figure this out game by game. He's a starter, but, because of last game, we just went with the same lineup. That's not easy for anybody emotionally or mentally. He just prepared and stayed the course and had a great practice yesterday and really stepped up and made some key shots, key plays for us tonight.
All right, Maddox, we'll take some via Zoom.
All right, we'll start with Ira Winderman. Go ahead.
Eric, I probably don't expect Omar Yurtseven to be an assist leader very often, even in the first half of the game. One, what got into him, and what does it say about the way he loaded up with assists early?
Oh, well, he has good vision. He has size. And he's had some games for us where he's been able to find open cutters, dribble outs to shooters. He's really improved in that aspect of helping somebody else get an open look. And we just had to go to him a little bit more in that kind of way, similar to how we were playing through PJ against Portland. He's earned more touches in those situations to be able to do a little bit of playmaking for us. And fortunately, we were able to cut and get into open spaces, and he was able to make the appropriate play without getting a deflection or a turnover.
You spoke pregame about sort of the maestros at point guard between Chris Paul and Kyle Lowry, and it really seemed like a real maestro game from Kyle Lowry, delivering what was needed when it was needed. Can you sort of talk about how in a moment like this, a guy like Kyle is able to sort of step up and pick and choose and dictate tempo?
Yeah, look, I'm an aficionado of the game. And this is one I would pay for, to watch two Hall of Fame point guards competing against each other. They're just so smart, clever. They both are ahead of the play, like 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of it. And they're both fierce competitors. They're not going to give an inch on anything. Having an opportunity to coach on the sideline, and experience that is something that I'll remember, 10 years from now. But Kyle, drives, so much for us. He was really assertive, without, Bam and Jimmy. He had to really set the table, for our guys. And what he does probably more than anything with our group is he just gets everybody comfortable and confident. So guys can just be who they are. They don't have to overthink things. He sets the table, gets everybody organized, and just makes key passes, to get guys right in their rhythm, right in their sweet spots.
Thank you, Eric.
All right, up next, Cooper Moorhead. Go ahead.
So Tyler had a few rough shooting nights over the past week or so, and then he started off, missing a handful tonight. But what'd you like about the way he sort of stuck with it and not just shot himself out of a slump, but sort of stayed within the offense moving to try and get the easy looks too?
Well, earlier in the trip, he had one of his better playmaking games against Houston, where he's really making the right play every single time and just reading the defense. And this is not an easy defense, to read and make the appropriate decisions. They have great closing speed. They protect the rim extremely well. They force you to really have to be assertive, but make the right play. And he was able to do that. And I thought his passing was good. I thought he got off the ball, at the right times. One of his better passes of the season was right before the end of the half. Just set that all up. And that's definitely a play, he wasn't making last year or the year before. And then he just got into a great rhythm. And we need his playmaking. We need his scoring. We need all that. He's playing enough minutes that he can just, not have to feel like he has to fight for his rhythm. He can just make the appropriate play every time, and knowing that the ball will continue to find him. And we need him to make plays, that he'll be able to, to make reads on that. And he's getting better in that regard.
And then over he hit 22 threes again for the third time in the past month. And, December was a franchise record for threes. A lot of teams could say we want to take more threes, but what have you liked so much about the process behind the shots you've been getting for the last month and the team's ability to stay organized, before getting to the shots that are going on? They're really coming from they're going in they're happening within the strengths and the context of how we want to execute our offense. So there's not a ton of just pull up jack threes, which there's nothing wrong with that. But these are happening through execution, paint attacks, and guys being unselfish and making the right play when somebody's open. You also have to have guys that can knock down a bunch of threes and get ignitable, which we have a bunch of those guys. So I know everybody, out there looks at the numbers and how many threes are we getting up, and how many we're making. Some games there's going to be a lot, and some games teams might take that away, and you have to get to something else. But we're still being aggressive. We're still being assertive, and finding open guys. PJ's offensive rebound to a spray to Duncan, and PJ really celebrating that is kind of indicative of this last month.